Okay, all right. If we make a start, I'm assuming probably just from the level of conversation we had in the room, we might not have had chance to really focus on the questions on the table, but that's okay, because this is about network, engaging, and actually building some relationships. So if you get a chance, please chip into the questions, and we will round them up and then feedback to everyone that's taken the time to attend today. The other thing, we are going to share the slides that have come round as well, so you'll get a sense of those after the event. So I think that takes us back. We've got a couple more things to get through until we get to lunch. But the next aspect we have to go through today is for our wonderful housing operations team. So it's going to be a bit of a team effort. They're all going to come up. Nigel, Maureen, Yinka, Clede, yes? Round of applause for the guys, please. Right, Britain's Got Talent. Here we go. All right, I'll hand over to the guys.
Thank you. I'll wait for them all to join. All right.
Just don't let me fall off the stage.
Yeah, fine. Right, morning everyone. Hope you're all fed and watered now. So, as Mark quite rightly pointed out, this is a joint effort. We look like the usual suspects up here. So, right. So I shall begin. So, the title of our presentation is around consultation, involvement and improvement. So, who we are, or should it be who are we? So, tenancy management, that's me, Nigel MacArthur. Sheltered housing.
That is I, Clede Pantazzi.
Estate management.
Oh, come on. Hi, everyone.
That's Yinka. Tenants participation.
That's me, Maureen.
Also in the room we've got the compliance team. Where's he gone? There we go. That's Jerry. So what we start off with is some good news stories. So it's been a busy and challenging year in Luton. As you can imagine, there's a lot of challenges. Sorry, I'll get me notes for this bit because I did make a few. So with the increase in sort of focus on social housing with the regulation and scrutiny that we're under, there's increased homeless approaches, as we alluded to earlier, the sort of impending Section 21 evictions going, we're getting more and more homeless approaches. Also, changing government policy and changing government has also impacted on our finite resources, and it's a very busy day job, and when something else comes in, so for instance the reduction in the right to buy discount, our right to buy team are now getting in the region of 21 applications a day, so they're having what would normally, they're a small team, and what they would normally be dealing with, that's 7 times what they're normally dealing with. So it's been busy, but what we want to focus on is we don't want the tenants to impact on the tenants, and in fact what we want to do is improve the offering that we give to the tenants. So some of the good things that have gone on, some huge successes. The launch of the Bristol Road Garden. So for those of you who don't know what it is, and you won't do, I'm particularly proud of this project. So I wrote a healthy estates policy when I was doing Yinka's job when I first arrived. And what it was that basically in Luton there's a lot of sort of pockets of land that we can't really do much with. We can't develop them. They're not big enough to develop. And any sort of vacant patch either becomes overgrown or it becomes it becomes a haven for ASB. So the Bristol Road old garage site was basically just abandoned. It was being fly tipped and so on and so forth. And so what we've done, when I say we, I haven't had much done, it's the rest of the team, have basically created a communal garden, and we've used It's had minimal impact on the council resources because we've used the social value budget, and we've created these communal garden beds that then the community can come and use. They can get the benefit of working outdoors. They can learn, and also they can actually interact with each other. So hopefully, a bit of a community feel. So we've got a good interaction with the tenants. So the tenant participation team have got a good bunch of what we call TARAs, Tenants and Residents Association, and what they've done, is they've organised 2 pantos, so for the other residents' kids in their area, so which is really good. We've a petting zoo on one of our estates. It was only visiting; it's not there full time. And then some more of the good news stuff is that we continue to work with our fraud partners to recover properties that have been used fraudulently. So that way, that can add the positive impact for that is that it brings the properties back into stock, so we can then try to get people sort of moving through. So a lot of them are family homes, which is fantastic. So, and I'll hand over to Clede.
Thank you very much. Nigel, thank you. Hi guys, my name's Clede Pantazzi. I'm the Sheltered Housing Manager for Luton. And I think the first thing I'd say before I go on to some of the good news stories from my service is to ask really the question about sheltered. Do you understand what sheltered housing is? Are you all familiar, or are you familiar with it in Luton? I know Tom, he's nodding there, very familiar. And Rob Roach, actually, who's our portfolio holder now, we're just kickstarting a round of visits to our sheltered schemes, hopefully to help Rob understand it a bit better and understand our tenants a bit better as well. But sheltered housing in Luton is incorporated by 22 schemes. I've got 22 schemes across Luton, fairly geographically spread across the town. We serve over 1,000 people. We've got over 940 properties in there, in our stock. And that's made up of high-rise, low-rise, one-bed flats, two-bed flats, maisonettes, bungalows, all manner of accommodation. And we serve over 55s. And it's an independent living environment. Okay, so it's not a home. It's an accommodation for older people, like-minded people, hopefully, to meet communally, discuss like-minded issues, make friends potentially, and probably lifelong friends, hopefully. Okay, but what I'm going to talk about with our good news stories is that in fact, over a year ago, we were very, very, I'll say, fortunate. We applied for COMP funding, which is COVID Outbreak Management funding. Okay, we were successful in accruing that funding. Almost £50,000 of funding, and how that's really helped us in Sheltered is that has really enabled us to get people involved and get activities going. That's the aim. And what we've within Sheltered, it's an environment where, whilst the working age has gone up, the retirement age is going up, we've still got a very high number of people in our schemes who are beyond that time. Okay, they spend a lot of time at home, a lot of time around the schemes. And something we've definitely we've identified over the years. I mean, I've been in Sheltered now for almost 20 years. Not in Sheltered, but working within Sheltered. Okay. And that is, I think one of our biggest enemies is people not being engaged in something. Having something, probably the biggest thing is not having something to look forward to. And that's a big thing. If you've got nothing to look forward to, that can be a lonely place. So with that comp funding, what it's enabled us to do is purchase items, hardware, which we never would have had access to before. One of those big ones that I'm really, really pleased about, and it's been a real success, is our movie clubs. So we've managed to purchase projectors, we've purchased pull-down screens, wide screens, 8-foot screens, surround sound systems, inviting tenants down to watch films together. That's been really, really popular. We've put on over 30 of those now over more than the past year. And that's gone from at the start, as with many of our activities in the schemes, what we've always struggled with is getting numbers involved. Whilst people are sort of almost not crying out for activities, but are really keen on partaking individuals, if we don't get the numbers, it's hard to maintain that. So with some of those, we've started with 5 and 6 people turning up, and that's increased up to 15, 16, 17 people attending. And I think one good example I'll give you with that, which I haven't got a picture of or anything with on that today, is I was at Wheatfield Court, which is one of our schemes over in Lucy Farm. And it was an afternoon of Only Fools and Horses. Okay, on the big screen. Okay, you could go and watch it in your own flat. Okay, but we put it on the big screen, and it was genuinely the first time I was outside of that room. I was talking to our officer who was in the office, and we could hear the people laughing together in the common room. Okay, and that was a big thing. That collectively, a group of people that probably wouldn't have ordinarily got together, but almost everyone, and I'll be very surprised if anyone in the room doesn't know Only Fools and Horses, and I'll be horrified if you don't, because it's a staple. Everyone's got to know that. So having that brought everyone together, and it was a great afternoon. But yeah, we've gone. It's not just about Only Fools and Horses and series, but we put movies on. We've managed to purchase our PVSL licenses, which allows us to watch movies from any studio, okay, because you do need licenses to broadcast. It's also given us a chance to broadcast series like Your Planet Earths to educate people a bit as well. And they've been really, really popular and brought people down, again, okay, that wouldn't ordinarily, I think that's the big thing, they wouldn't ordinarily engage together, okay? We've also, I was waiting for some gasps in, we've also bought Nintendo Switches, okay? So it's a world away from what people would probably think would be going on in a sheltered scheme. And we're talking about an older person's environment. But where that's been good for us is my officers and bringing people in from outside, which I'll show on the next slide. It's got people to engage with younger people. Those younger people have come in. I don't know how to work one. My son might know how to work one. I couldn't. I might be able to play a game with him. But bringing some younger people in to show people how to use this stuff. And it's also a way, whilst it's fun, it's also allowed, so educated tenants, some older tenants, into how to use some of these things. And where that's probably helped them as well, and we've had some feedback, is where they've then been able to engage with grandkids, children, that they probably wouldn't have touched base on that level with them. So it's another opportunity to engage again. But aside from those items there, the other opportunities it's given us, aside from the cinema club, games afternoons, simple games, games that you Scrabble, chess, that just bring people together, again, that probably people wouldn't engage with otherwise, okay? We've got gardening clubs going in some of our schemes. We've even bought battery-powered lawnmowers, trimmers, leaf blowers, leaf suckers. And that's not to palm off the duty of parks over to tenants, but we've got tenants engaging in maintaining their own gardens in the sheltered schemes. And it's not their responsibility to do that, but we've empowered them to do that. And people have taken us up on that. Also, purchasing things like paintbrushes, sanding blocks to maintain railings outside. And Wheatfield Court's another one where we've gone from green to red. I was a bit apprehensive when they chose red. I was thinking, a bit too bright, but actually looks great. Really tidied the area up that probably we hadn't quite got to when it comes to BTS and the repairs. The guys took that on themselves, bit of a project, really smarting the place up, and they feel more invested in keeping the scheme, tip top, because they've also put some work in. We've also been able to secure health and fitness machines. So, and I'll talk about one picture I actually saw just the other day, where we've installed ski machines into some of our schemes, and they're on a rotation, so we move them around to different schemes, and I did see Rob Roach on one of those just the other day. I'm not sure how you found out. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about that. But again, we had that set up in Wheatfield, and we had a group of tenants partaking in that, managing to download the apps again, upskilling them in how to monitor their fitness. Okay, so it's been a real coup. I mean, as I said, the comp funding has really opened up opportunities for us. And just moving on to a slide, it's only one picture. And whilst we do amazing things, we do amazing things and offer amazing things in Sheltered, I would like to point out that this gentleman here He's not a sheltered tenant. Okay, he's far too young. We haven't got a fountain of youth. We offer many, many things in shelter, but we don't offer fountains of youth. So this is a gentleman that's coming to help our tenants with the Nintendo Switch, which you can sort of just see in this picture up here, and playing pool, okay, with the local tenants and building a bit of a community. Okay, so we think that's a big thing, and that's the thing that's been lost over the years. You know, in my own eyes, people are obsessing over life and getting on, and there is a disparity between the youth and older people, and we want to try and get that back together again. Are you okay? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
I'll hand back over to Nigel.
Thank you. And just to point out that the lad wasn't taking any money off the people either. So the other thing we've had this year is we've created a new compliance team. The reason for doing that is that basically we're monitored by the Housing Ombudsman on our responses to complaints and make sure that we're on time. And what the housing compliance team does, one of their roles is to help manage the complaints. When I say manage the complaints, gathering the information, make sure it goes out on time, make sure it's in the right format, and also learn lessons from it. They're also undertaking a review of the website. It's a council website, and it's grown over time, and as such, it needs looking at. Massive piece of work is working on implementing CX, which is our new system. Now that probably means nothing to most of you. So CX is our housing management software system. So all of the data and all of the records is managed on this site, and it is a massive, massive task to build it in the first place, to build the processes and procedures within it, and then we've also got to look at how we transfer the data and so on and so forth. Huge bit of work. Huge. Alongside that, they're also taking the opportunity to review all our processes and procedures. And also, this is the really exciting one, is working on a new and improved resident portal. So we've had some basically feedback from the tenants around and learning from the complaints is around how difficult it is sometimes to get to the right person. We've now got specialised teams, so you've got specialised teams in income, specialised teams in tenancy management, so on and so forth. That means that they won't have the same officer. So in the past, you'd have had a generic housing officer who would have dealt with everything. That's not the case now, and there's the benefit of doing it. However, it's then confusing for the tenant, or it's difficult for the tenant to go, actually, you don't want to be talking to me, you need to be talking to your income officer, so on and so forth, and that's not great interaction. So that's what we're looking to improve. We also learn from complaints. Not quite sure why there's a sheep there. I think it was the petting farm.
That is the petting zoo.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's not that we just follow like sheep. We use our complaints to improve our service for our residents, and that's the main thing. I had a conversation the other day around there seem to be a lot of complaints in Luton, but that's because we do register everything as a complaint or as a service request. So that's on the recommendation of the Housing Ombudsman. That's what they recommend that we do, and that's why we do get a lot. And it's also not a bad thing, apparently. And the reason for that is that we can utilise these as ways of learning to improve our way of work and providing a better service. Getting looks of approval from the front desk. And also the other thing we learn from is the spotlight reports and feedback from the Housing Ombudsman. So what the Housing Ombudsman does is that it sends out reports of learning from other councils and housing providers' investigations. And so we will look through those and look to see, could we improve could we implement what they're recommending, Are we doing that already? If not, can we? And also feedback from the Housing Ombudsman themselves. So if we get a Housing Ombudsman inquiry, they will review it and they will send back feedback, and that we will review that and look how we can implement their learning. So, example of learning from complaints. So one of the main things is offering staff new training to help deliver an improved service. More often than not, it seems to be around the communication with the tenants and making sure that there's no misunderstandings and that the message is clear. And also residents having to communicate with multiple teams, as I alluded to earlier, and so we've used this to feed into the wider transformation work across the council. This is from Yinka's team. Stop putting the stickers on vehicles parked on garage forecourts. Simple, really simple, but it was upsetting a lot of people. So we do actually get some compliments. I know I sound surprised, but we do. So, for example, some feedback about one of our officers. So, this gentleman has proven to be very helpful in all aspects of issues with the management of Kingsland Court. Is that one of your? That's one of Yinka's team. Bless him. So, he listens, he observes, and goes beyond. So, and tries to find workable solutions. Fantastic. So, Tonjo, is that his name?
Yes.
Good. He's not been with us that long either, has he? No. Good lad. And also another compliment is the housing officer, Ola. He's been extremely helpful with the needs and went beyond and making calls to the right department to find out information for them, rather than just saying, you need to call this, you need to call them. He took that on, made the calls, got back to him. Albert, if anyone has met Albert, he is an absolute gem. So he's the manager of the estates team in the south. Team manager, sorry. And he is polite and he is committed. So nothing is ever too much trouble, and that's great feedback because I can vouch for that. And also thanks to Lynn, she's given my case in the housing commercial team. She's right to buy officer.
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and thanks to Diane, as a tenancy officer for resolving an issue with the garden. Never seen my kids so happy. That's not bad, is it? We don't often get that. Other compliments. This is from tenancy, from Sheltered. Special thanks to the new warden, Omesh, who is good at coping with extraordinary situations in the job. They think it's extraordinary. It's pretty much the ordinary for us. So, as you can see, undertook that work. Again, thank you to Omesh, who saw the first signs of my depression. I think short, sweet, but that sums up what we do. It's not just around the managing of the tenancies and so on and so forth. It's managing the person as well and looking out for the person. So, working across teams, I believe this is for you, Yinka, and I'll step down.
Hi everyone, I'm Yinka Unimole and I'm the Housing Estates Manager. I'll just give you a snippet of what we do. We look after 10 high-rise blocks across town, and we also have over 446 low-rise blocks that we inspect on a regular basis. We are the eyes and ears of the estate, and to even make that better, we changed our uniform to purple, similar to the ones the gentlemen over there are wearing. Yeah, so that people can see us when we're on the estate, and obviously run and ask questions so that we can help them and see what we can do to improve their environment. A lot of the work we actually do contributes to part of the TSM and fosters a lot of good working relationships as well. We actually are very fortunate. Oh, I haven't. Boom, there. That is it. We're fortunate in Luton because we have a good number of internal colleagues that actually do great work across the estates for us, and this helps us in delivering a good service. We have award-winning pest control team in Luton. We also have a PACS services team. Someone else mentioned PACS. Was it you, Clete? Yes. So rather than taking work from PACS, we are giving work to PACS. So yeah, we keep PACS very busy. They maintain our estates. And we have the internal waste management team as well. They look after, ensure that the blocks are rubbish-free, no fly tipping across our estates. And also, we stretch out a bit. We work with our public health colleagues as well by doing a lot of our road shows, which I'll be talking about later on. But I would like to use this opportunity to say thank you. I keep forgetting to move that. Oh, sorry, everyone. There you go. That and there, finally. So I would like to use this opportunity to say thank you to all our internal and external partners for supporting us to deliver a great service to our residents.
Hi, so I'm going to talk to you about working with our residents, which is about involving our residents in what we do and consultation to try and improve services. So what I thought I would do is basically say to you, I have a very small team. What we do is consultation. Most of you here will have heard of the annual survey that we do of our with our tenants, which includes now the regulator's tenant satisfaction measures. We've done 1 year of that survey already in 2023, and our 2024 results will be in next week. There is a session which hopefully everybody who works for the council will have had an invite to. I think it's next Thursday, to hear how they've changed from last year. So what do we do to involve our tenants? Well, basically, why do we do it? We do it to try to improve satisfaction, help with neighbourhoods, and we do it when service changes are proposed or when satisfaction is lower in an area. So basically what we're always seeking to do is to improve tenant satisfaction and make sure that people are happy with the services that we provide. Because if they are, we get less complaints, potentially. So, what do we do? I'm going to talk about a couple of areas, but what I really want to put across today is that involvement is a very varied thing. Involvement can mean us sending out a text question, which we do on a regular basis now, on a monthly basis with our key customers, right through our tenant groups, and you will see some of them in the room today, through to our scrutiny panel and tenant board, who dovetail together really. Tenant board, on the 25th of November, they will get a report on budgets and rents. Scrutiny panel, they carry out reviews, but there's definitely a link between the two. So, let's give you an example. Just go through. One of the good examples, I think, is here. I know that the council as a whole is looking at its approach to transformation. And I also know that some of the way that that's actually come about is from scrutiny panel findings and recommendations on customer service. The consultants that were in at that time came to scrutiny panel meetings and tenant board and talked to them about what they thought needed to change. And now they are actually going to be involved in the next step. We have tenants signed up now to be part of that process of transformation, including consultation on a draft corporate resident promise. So that's not just about housing, it's about services across the council. One of my colleagues also talked about the new housing system, CX. Tenants have been involved in that. And when we get to the right stage, they will be part of testing. Because the fact is, if it doesn't work for them, it's not going to work. What we're trying to do here with CX is make some things online so it makes it easier, so that the staff can be utilised in a better way for people that don't use it, or for those bigger queries that can't be dealt with online. I'm going to pass you back to Yinka, and then I'm going to come back. But when I come back, I'll just give you lots of pictures.
Hey. Thank you, Maureen. Right, I'm going to talk to you about road shows. Road shows is what I call my baby, and because for me, I've come from tenancy background, and engaging with residents is the key, regardless of what anyone says. Engaging with residents, listening to their views and acting on it is the way forward. So which is why we've come up with the roadshow idea. The roadshow is about officers going into communal areas, but they inform the residents beforehand and invite councillors as well, invite other colleagues from other departments as well to come along and speak to residents, because I've noticed for a lot of us here will know that each time we call for residents meeting in a community center, only a handful of people turns up. But when you're sitting there in the communal area, people will definitely open their door to come and find out what is going on. So that is when we come in. Hello, how can we help you today? What's going on in your block? This is who we are, this is what we do. And that has led to us listening to residents, installing things like fence to stop people parking on the grass verge, gates where gates are needed, etc. So, which has made residents very happy with the service that we're providing. We also do this with our colleagues in public health. We use that opportunity to run all the public health campaigns like the Stoptober, Play Street, health checks, having smoke-free homes. We provide information like that on our road shows. Also, we ask residents to complete a survey, and from that survey, we put their name in a draw for a voucher, and a number of, I've gone too far now. Before I wasn't using it, but now I'm just like going forward. Yeah, sorry. With that in mind, residents have been like very happy that they've been able to win £10 voucher that they can use to buy things that they need in their home. So that's it from me, and thank you, everyone. I'm going to pass on to Maureen now. So, Maureen, here you go.
Sorry. I'm going to put them all up on one page because I know we're running slightly over. It'd be easier and quicker. So I've talked about involving tenants in local in overall consultation about what's going on, the bigger things that we all do. But we also do a lot of local consultation about improving services locally. Yinka, as she's alluded to, does her roadshows, which we do get involved with. But my team also do regular estate walkabouts that take in the wider area, just not around the flat blocks. We do these with the councillors, with other housing staff and other teams such as street services. And basically, tenants come out with us, a report at the end of the actual walkabout takes place, and then they get an update on where we go from there. We also have a lot of local tenants groups that we work with. I think we've currently got over 10. We're always on the lookout for another one. They work on lots of different things. Sometimes they do their own local events. Sometimes we work with them on them. I said at the beginning, there's a big thing for us about surveys, and that's not just about the big survey. It's also about the smaller surveys about what matters to people locally. If you look around at the high-rise blocks across the town, the tenants that live there had a vote on the colour that those blocks are. We've done a lot of work on things such as door entry systems, what time they turn off, whether we turn off the buttons for the postman, and so on. And that is something that probably goes on every week. From the 2023 survey, we set up another group of people called the Key Customers. We have over 400 on this list already, and we already have a list of other individuals that are interested from this year's survey. And what Key Customers do is, we worked with them last year and we talked to them through the survey, and there was 3 main areas that they came up with that they said mattered to them. And those 3 main areas were around communications, and I know we all say communications, and it is always a big thing. But basically, the communication areas that they really focused down on was working with people with disabilities. We now have a disability panel, which meets regularly, and we've been talking about the issues that affect them and what we can do about that. And our leaseholders, because we don't just work with tenants, we work with flat block owners that have bought their flats. So we now have regular leaseholder meetings, and I think most people that have attended them will think that that has made a major difference. And I know we've got one in the room who will say that that's made a big difference to, well, we'll wait and see with the survey whether leaseholders whether leaseholder satisfaction has improved, but I really hope it has, because it was very low. So with our Key Customers, we've also Raz over there managed to find out this new system, which we like to try and keep close because it's going to cost us money if too many go out. A new text messaging system. So basically, our Key Customers get a regular text from us, but it has to be a short, sharp question. And one of the first ones we did in July was around complaints, funnily enough. We asked people, do you know how to make a complaint? But it was quite illuminating, really. I think we got 70 responses out of the 400. And I think it was 40 out of there that said they didn't and wanted to know more. So from there, we've done a lot of work at trying to advertise how to make a complaint. The Ombudsman Service, you'll see that every newsletter we put out will have that in there. And we continue to try to push that so people know how to do it. I've already talked about the disability panel, so I'm going to leave it there. Now, these are some of the comments that have been made by tenants. Compliments, if you like. The 2 that are up here now are from the chair of the board, who's in the room, and I know that she certainly enjoys being part of that. I don't think Candy's here today, but Candy is the chair of our Platt Court Action Group, and she's been very, very proactive in making change in those blocks. They've now got an entry system on their car park, and we're in the process of negotiating with an external contractor to get the group some money for giving up a little bit of their car park for a period while some health and safety works take place on an adjacent block. These other 2 here, I don't actually know who made these, but this is another tenant board member here. And then there's another one here from the Tara, which is from Parktown, and they're in the room today. Actually, one of the tenant board members said to me last week, and it's not on here, but it was one of the best comments I've had. He said to me, it really has increased my confidence. And I thought, tenant involvement, it isn't just about us. It's about what it can do for the people that we're working with, how it improves their confidence and lets them improve their neighbourhoods. So thank you to all of our tenant reps, because without them, we wouldn't be doing the work that we're doing. And I'm really looking forward to new and exciting projects that we will tackle together. So I'm going to finalise with just a few pictures. This one here is from Marsh Farm. This building is called the Unity. The tenant group meet there. This was a group event that took place after the recent killings that took place there, to try and bring people in and make them feel a bit happier about the current situation. This one here is Claire's team, who came out to Ackworth Court and helped us to do some clearing of the garden. They've got a massive garden, which they do love, and they've just had a new shed put in last week, I believe. Yep. This one, I had to put this in, I'm sorry, I know it's a dustbin lorry, but I think sometimes we underrate how much our refuse team contribute to tenant satisfaction. Because believe me, if there's rubbish, they're not happy. And I don't know if any of you know, but they pick up on Christmas Day at the high-rise blocks, which I think is probably above and beyond, really. I'll finish with social value, because I haven't really said anything here, and I don't know if any of our contractors are in the room. Is any of the contractors in the room? No? Oh, it's a shame, because I really would like to thank them, because this year they've contributed over £20,000 to help our projects. They've made donations to the food bank, donations to, oh God, I'm trying to remember now. But they've also really, really helped us on big projects like Bristol Road. And really, without them, that would be hugely difficult. It's not just about the contractors, though. It's about probation, staff, other groups of people that actually come out on projects, which Raz did an event last week at Bristol Road. And unless you actually come and see it, this is here, you don't understand what a difference it can make. This group are now growing their own food. Mark was there. Basically, now they're talking about having an event next year where they're actually going to do some cooking and bring along food. And it's a lot of different groups of people. There was a lot of talk about whether the chili was hot or not. Raz will allude to the fact it was hot. That was last week. There's a few pictures there. So we use the social value to help bring people together and improve local communities. Bristol Road is a parcel of disused land, which we've already said. But we do have another one, and we're hoping it'll be ready in the spring, which is in Farley Hill. And I think, oh, sorry, I had to put that one in, the Parktown Halloween event, which the Parktown Tara hold every year. They also do a Christmas event with Father Christmas. They're the ones that had the pantos, and here is the final picture of some of the animals at the petting zoo. They wouldn't let me put the snake in because they said it made some people a bit woozy. And I'm just going to hand over to...
Robin Good as a wicked witch to the panto.
Oh, stop it. Right. You can finish off?
I will.
Thank you.
This is I. Okay. So, hello again. So just to, thanks for that, Maureen, by the way. Just to finalise and then move on, it's our pledge from Housing Services, okay, to the tenants and residents of Luton. And some of this stuff might seem regular, normal, what you'd expect, okay? And it's stuff that which we do pledge also year on year, some of this stuff, okay? And it's stuff that we achieve, okay? But really refocusing that residents will be the centre of our focus, okay? And part of that is ensuring that we're listening and acting on tenants and residents' concerns. Nigel talked about our new and improved customer portal, ensuring there's easier access to services, finding the right people that you need to talk to at the right time. Inga talked about housing staff's aim to be more visible on the estates with the new uniforms. So yeah, and that shows a presence on the estate. So people like to see that. They like to know. We know that officers are out there. Historically, officers have been around the estates. Like within my own services, sheltered services, our officers are in the schemes, but are we visible enough? Okay, and simple things like that, like a uniform, like an outfit, shows that you're there. Okay, and easily approachable. For my own service, it's more opportunities for social engagement in our sheltered schemes. And we've started that off again. We've got that going. And it is almost like the rock on the landslide that follows. It started off very small, but getting more and more people engaged. And where that, like I said earlier, where that helps is, it prevents the social isolation. It really feeds into that social inclusion. We want to get people involved from outside of our schemes and let them know who we are and invite people in, new friendships, and going back to building the communities again, which seems to, over time, has probably sort of degraded a bit over time, if we're all honest. We'll keep residents more informed more often. All of the services do amazing stuff. Maureen's team in particular, when it comes to keeping tenants informed with newsletters, letting people know what's going on in their community and asking for feedback from tenants. To continue to work with residents to implement improvements across our estates. I'm going to tie these in two together, and to continue to listen and get consideration on what residents ask. At the end of the day, tenants and residents are the people that live on our estates and our communities. They're the people that live and experience life on estates. So it's really, really important that we do listen, do consider what people say, and where we can, we will. Okay, and I think that's, I'll finish off there, just with, are there any questions from anyone around the topics of discussion? No, we've got no time? Okay, sorry. Thank you very much, guys.